After years of consultation and an earlier draft version released over 18 months ago, I am informed that the new Psychology Board of Australia Code of Conduct is going to be released by the end of this year. This new Code of Conduct will replace the APS Code of Ethics that we've been using for over 30 years and will become the defining regulatory document that governs the behaviour and professional conduct of psychologists within this country. With that in mind, it's going to be really important for all of us to get up to speed with this new Code of Conduct as soon as it is published, because I'm informed that it's going to take effect by the end of 2025. We've been using the APS Code of Ethics since 1997, so that's almost 30 years. We've modified it and edited it and revised it a few times, but effectively the same document from 1997 has been the governing document for psychology ethics over the course of the last 30 years. That document replaced the APS Code of Conduct, which goes back to 1970. So in many ways, the Australian Psychology Society Code of Ethics, and before that Code of Conduct, has been determinative in all matters of ethics for well over 50 years. How did that become the case? How did we go from a professional society passing a code of ethics to that being adopted by a government? Today, to commemorate the fact that the APS Code of Ethics is about to be retired, I'm going to tell that story. It all goes back to 1999 and a matter that was dealt with by the Queensland Psychology Board, as it was back then before national registration. A psychologist who was working in a prison setting was engaged in a relationship with one of the prisoners. This was also a prisoner for whom she was providing psychological therapy for. Her supervisor and one of the leads within the organisation gave her advice that the relationship was becoming inappropriate and that the relationship both therapeutically and interpersonally should be discontinued. Skip forward a little bit further, this prisoner was released from prison and actually ended up moving in with the psychologist in question. A complaint was made and the psychologist's behaviour was determined to be unprofessional because she had engaged in a way with the prisoner that had the potential to be exploitative and also was in violation of the rule that you cannot engage in a relationship with one of your clients within 2 years. Now, on the face of it, this would seem like a fairly straightforward matter, and sadly the board deals with cases like this on a disturbingly frequent basis. A psychologist has made a relational transgression with a client and they need to be sanctioned for it. What made this case interesting, though, was the psychologist's defence. Through her counsel, she stated that she should not be bound by the APS Code of Ethics because she wasn't a member of the APS. For a case that was so simple in terms of the facts of the matter and the accusations, it dragged on for close to 5 years and actually went as far as the Queensland Civil Appeals Tribunal. In the final ruling, there are quotations from Aristotle and Hippocrates, and as well as expert witnesses from people who are philosophers, experts in morality, experts in law, as well as experts in psychology and conduct. That defence, that the code doesn't apply to me because I'm not a member, actually opened up an entire Pandora's box for behaviour that was unethical but was not sanctioned specifically by law. As a result of this, and to expedite similar cases in future, the Queensland Psychology Board passed a resolution stating that they would formally adopt the APS Code of Ethics as their governing document going forward. All other states followed suit shortly afterwards, and when we moved to national registration, that legacy of the APS Code of Ethics being at the core followed through to the National Board. Now, we're going to move forward to the National Board having its own Code of Conduct. But in case anyone ever asks you the question, isn't it unfair that the Psychology Board chose to preference one professional organisation over the other professional organisations? Now you know why.